Hello, welcome back again. My first flat globe sun app video was such a success, it actually got me kicked off of 3 Flat Earth Facebook discussion groups, so I've come back at it again. I'm going to make another one. This video is, of course, Flat Globe Sun App number 2. And you might be asking yourself, why are you doing another one? Wasn't the first one good enough? Of course it was. It was fine. However, the flat earther that devised the first debacle has made some more. It's quite hilarious to be a part of because he is in such damage control. He's doing more and more trying to prove his point, and as we know, the more a flat earther tries to use evidence, the more it destroys him. He's been advising people that they don't know how to do triangulation, and he's been asking for people to get him more and more of these theodolite screenshots. He claims he uses that data to give us illustrations like this one of where the sun is, and he says the sun, by his calculations, is close. Even though quite a few people have chimed in and said, look, you're doing this all wrong. I even took the time to take his illustration, add to it, illustrating my point when I tell him, you are not triangulating correctly, it's wrong. And this is a Facebook thing, so everybody's seeing this. I even explained my illustration and said, you've triangulated solar noon to be over Pueblo, Colorado. That's impossible. This was after my video explaining his first failed experiment. You would think that would end it. That was horrible. Oh, no. Then he comes up with this thing and tries to explain away another triangulation experiment. He got other people to join in, even though the first 2 have been failures. At first blush, you might say, hey, that looks okay. What are you talking about? That looks fine. Well, let's put in the path of the sun. This is where the sun is actually going, perpendicular to the Earth, on the day he took that test. You know, roughly, I'm not the greatest illustrator. Let's add in some more drawings. Here is where his sun is traveling, directly overhead in the perpendicular path along the globe Earth. Of course, the flat earthers say, hey, what's wrong with that? It could be there. The only problem is, that is the Tropic of Cancer. And of course, we all know the Tropic of Cancer is the farthest north the sun will ever travel. And there is his, way north of that. I was warned early on that Nicholas would try to do anything to make his stuff work. Case in point, he is using this diagram in his illustrations from some European agency of some sort. He is openly mocking people for not knowing how to triangulate constantly, and yet, look at this. We all can see the glaring problem with his illustration. He's a flat earther and he's using this, a ball earth illustration, and he's assuming that this is the correct way to look at things. Okay, let's dissect that in a way that he never will, and I know, yes, I am teaching him how to do this, and he's never going to do it the right way. He continues to do it the wrong way. He's not even understanding he's using a globe diagram to try to prove his flat Earth. You might think, big deal, how does that corrupt the data? Well, just looky here. This is how it corrupts the data. It corrupts the information, and he will let his idea push and form and adjust and manipulate the information that he considers valid and useful. The idea is going to totally control the information you accept and consider valid and what you throw away and consider invalid. This is opposite of what a scientific method of investigation and experimentation should be. How could it possibly affect things? Let's take a look at that. It changes the angle. It's obvious. It makes the object look closer in your calculations than it actually is. And were you able to catch how that changed it? Because the zenith has changed, the angle has changed, so that changes your observation angle, and it's a self-validating, incorrect way to do this. I was warned that this would happen. No access to the information, couple of illustrations proving his point in his mind, but once you examine it closely, oh wow. Proof once again that you can't start out with a false premise and then try to build on that premise and try to design experiments to reinforce that premise. You can't do it. It doesn't work in the end. He blew it with the first test, providing inaccurate information at best, trying desperately to prove his point, but it turned out horribly for him. He automatically assumed the Earth was flat and then tried to seek out information that would help reinforce it, which in essence ruined his own point. I mean, he destroyed his own idea, especially when he provided illustration after illustration that shows he doesn't know how to triangulate. Then to sit and mock people and tell them they don't know how to triangulate, that is just the height of arrogance. To openly mock people and ask them, so, do you know how a triangle works? Do you know what a triangle is? Can I help you out and tell you what a triangle is? And yet providing impossible illustrations like this, also providing impossible illustrations like this. It's a laughable joke if it wasn't so desperately sad. This person can't even do what they're mocking people and saying that those people can't do. I really hate how much people throw that Dunning-Kruger crap around, but come on! You're using a globe to prove flat Earth? Oh, what is going on in your brain? I mean, come on. And there's another guy I deal with who calls himself autodidactic subgenius intellect. And I'll tell you, there is a really huge emphasis on the sub-genius. Basically, what Ross means is that he's a self-taught moron. And yeah, I can see what he means, but you don't have to degrade yourself like that. They argue over obvious things like this. There is a non-stop flight from Sydney, Australia to Chile, Santiago, Chile. The shortest flat Earth route is not the non-stop route. It's the circle, the Great Circle route. The fastest route goes over water, not over land. But of course they will argue it's some government conspiracy to keep us all confused about the fact we live on a flat Earth. And I'm like, oh, come on. No one has to keep these people confused. They do it on their own. They say they triangulated the sun and it was over Pueblo, Colorado. Solar noon happening over Pueblo, Colorado. Even though the sun never ever gets that far north. It doesn't even make it to Texas. Well, to their credit, once I pointed out the stupidity of the illustration they were showing me, they provided me with another illustration that looks like they gave things a thought or two. However, on further examination, we find that illustration is absolutely as stupid as the first one. They almost got it correct, except we've shown again, nope, idiot, too far north still. Get correcting it. But you know what, better yet? A couple of years ago I did a video called Flat Earth Implosion because the Flat Earthers were imploding at the time. They were telling their followers to stay away from evidence, including, but not limited to, the Flat Earth map. They were telling people, stop using any Flat Earth map. They were really serious. They were chastising people. Stay away from evidence. Don't talk about anything except feelings. Feels motionless. Looks flat. Nothing with evidence. And they emphasize specifically the AE map. Don't go anywhere near it. Does this remind you why you shouldn't use evidence? Does this remind you why you shouldn't try to pull it over on us? The simple answer is, the evidence doesn't support flat Earth. That's why. Leading flat Earth video makers say don't use globe proofs to try to prove flat Earth. It'll never work. Yes, the globe is real, but you can't fake us out by trying to prove a flat Earth. With evidence, it's not going to go. It's not going to fly. But, of course, you know that, Nicholas, because you refuse to give people the information that you're getting. You just tell us, well, it says it's 3,000 miles high. No, it doesn't. We've already done that before. It jumps all over the place. We performed the experiment when you couldn't control the information solely, and we found out you were not telling the truth. You're just embarrassing yourself. Do you think Nicholas will stop trying to pull one over on us and give up and be smart? No, of course not. He'll keep going. He won't stop. Why? Because he thinks he's some sort of a genius. But oh, it's embarrassing. Keep trying to use evidence. How dumb is that when your own people are saying, stop doing it?